Good morning and Shabbat Shalom. There are two words in this week's Torah portion which are very famous. The Torah says you should perform my commandments and my statutes, the mitzvot, and then the Torah adds two words, v'chai bahem, and you shall live with them. And our rabbis teach us that these words are here to tell us that it's not enough to do the mitzvot, but you should be alive with the mitzvot. It is the mitzvot that will give you life. And these two words, v'chai bahem, you shall live with them, stand in contrast to the name of this week's Torah portion. The name of this week's Torah portion is Acharei Mot, after the death, after the passing of the two sons of Aaron. And in the portion of Acharei Mot come the words v'chai bahem, you should live with them. And how relevant this is for this year. We are living in a year of Acharei Mot, one of the greatest tragedies in modern history, the tragedy of October 7th and the 1,200 people who were murdered and over 500 soldiers who died defending the land of Israel and countless others who died rescuing their fellow Jews. And we're living in an era of Acharei Mot after such a terrible death, the tragic murder of so many innocent men, women, and children. Comes this week's Torah portion says the response to Acharei Mot is v'chai bahem. You shall live even more by the mitzvot. Why? Because when you see the power of evil, when you see the depth of cruelty and barbarism, and how inhumane human beings in the image of God could act, this should only strengthen our resolve to live even more in a way that is godly, holy, righteous, noble, pious, loving, kind, compassionate, which all the laws of the Torah are there to elevate man to reach their potential as a human being in the image of God. This week's Torah portion talks about the Kohen Gadol on the holiest day going into the holiest room in the world, the Kodesh HaKadashim, the Holy of Holies. We were just in Israel, we went to the police station on top of the Western Wall, and we were able to look out on the Temple Mount from the window of the army base and see the Holy of Holies. There was one room that we were told you can't go into this room unless you went into the mikveh, immersed yourself in water because you're standing on the Temple Mount. And the Holy of Holies was entered by the Kohen Gadol, and the verse says, V'chal Adam, no person shall be in the room with the Kohen Gadol on the day of Yom Kippur when he goes into the Holy of Holies. And the Talmud says in Yerushalmi, not just any human being, but even the angels can't enter with the high priest. Why? Because the high priest is holier than the angels. Angels can't choose between good and evil. They automatically, instinctively are programmed to be righteous and good. Human beings have the capacity to choose bad and choose to be righteous like the Kohen Gadol. Only they merit to go into the Holy of Holies. When we see the darkness, then we appreciate the light even more. When we see the depths of evil, we realize more than ever, v'chai bahem. As Jews, we have to live by the Torah, embrace the Torah, love the Torah, be more Jewish, be more connected to God, be more connected to the Jewish community, because that is the best response to Acharei Mot. The best response is v'chai bahem, we shall live by them. And when we do that, we become a light that the whole world could benefit from. You know, one of the amazing programs at Palm Beach Synagogue is the Solomon Leadership Program. We started it 8 years ago to teach values, 8 pillars, values from a perspective not just of Judaism, but from a moral, ethical perspective that are universal values for the whole world to learn. So these students in high school can grow up to be the type of adults that will stand against evil, that will stand against anti-Semitism and hatred. Not like the students we see today in the encampments on college campuses. And the program was so successful that we opened up a dozen other chapters right here in Florida. In the next 2 weeks, there'll be 5 additional graduations in communities besides the one we already had in our community. And these students, hundreds of them, are being taught proper values. And in our chapter, we have a diverse community. We have students from all backgrounds that we teach them these values. And we have speakers that come and speak to the kids. And one of them is a Jamaican fellow by the name of Ricky Wade, who immigrated here, and he started to buy McDonald's, and he bought like 50 franchises here in Palm Beach County. He has the biggest owner of McDonald's franchises, and he's a wonderful human being. and he speaks to the kids and inspires them and encourages them. And at the end of the session, he gives them his cell phone number. He says, call me if you need guidance, if you need direction, if you need advice, I'm here for you. He called me this week, Ricky, good friend of mine now. And he says, Rabbi, I'm watching what's going on in Israel. I'm watching what's going on in the college campuses. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing, the things they're saying, the anti-Semitism. He says, I have a good friend who owns a newspaper here in Florida. He says, I called him, I said, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to write an article about the Solomon Leadership Program. He said, I need you to publicize the good works and the good deeds of the Jewish community. He says, people are just reading the terrible headlines, the lies, the misinformation. I want them to know what the Jewish people stand for, the values they teach in their synagogues, not just to Jewish students, but to all students. And I got a call from this reporter, and we're meeting up together because he wants to shed light on what the Jewish people represent and stand for. The response to the evil of the world is v'chai b'hem. Be more Jewish. Be more connected to the Torah and the mitzvot, because they are the light for us and for the world. And when the world sees the way Jews act nobly, righteously, there are those righteous Gentiles of the world that will stand up with us. Those are the friends that we have beyond the Jewish community. They are the ones that will benefit and appreciate what we stand for. But we have to be that model. We have to be that embodiment of the values of Torah. V'chai b'hem. Let us live more passionately as Jews. Have a wonderful Shabbat.